Hey Masters, if you know me and you've been listening to my podcast, you know health and nutrition is number one. Check out AdvoCare products. I am a distributor. Go to livelongersmarter.com. We got everything you could imagine for your health and nutrition goals. If you're interested, at the end of the podcast, at the very end, there'll be more information on the products. Also, LandVoice is one of our sponsors. They have amazing services. If you need leads, please check out LandVoice for FSBO, expired, circle prospecting, a dialer, whatever you need. Go to davidihill.com, affiliates. You can click the LandVoice link and all of the special opportunities will be there.
Get ready for one more sale, inspiring you with ideas through powerful and engaging interviews with top performers of their field. Now, join us as we discuss techniques and strategies of the coolest and most successful people on the planet.
You have to really be confident in yourself. Until you've got that, you need to do everything possible to get your confidence level up. Why am I calling 40 or 50 people a day and no one's picking up the phone? Well, if you tell yourself that every time you pick up the phone, they're not going to answer, well, guess what? They're not going to answer. But if you start telling yourself a different story and believing that things are going to shift and change and that every single phone call you make, you're actually going to get someone on the other line, you're going to start seeing that these things actually start to happen.
What up, Masters? Welcome back to Path to Mastery. Guys, it's been a couple weeks since we've been live. I've done a couple reruns for you. Come on now. Mel Robbins, we had Grant Cardone 3 weeks ago, Dirk Zeller. Listen, if you haven't caught the last couple episodes, go back and listen to them because they're phenomenal. I'm super excited, though, to be live again with Michelle Weintein. Michelle, she's amazing. She has a podcast called Success Unfiltered, which you just got to listen to. I mean, it's really cool. She's been featured on Shark Tank. I mean, she's a national sales trainer. She does a show on Facebook all about rejection and getting beyond no, which is, I know that's my favorite. She's just killing it for us. So I can't wait to get to Michelle. Here, listen, referrals. I haven't asked you in a while. I haven't reminded you, I should say, in a while that, listen, we cover Massachusetts, guys. We got the state covered. I have gotten so many referrals from you guys, our listeners, and I'll tell you what, I can't think of one that did not pan out for not just for you giving me the referral where you're getting a check, but for your clients receiving a phenomenal service. Our team vision is transforming the real estate experience through communication, guys. It's all about communication. That's what we bring into a transaction. And as we're building the largest referral group in Massachusetts, that's what we are doing right now. So we'd love you to be part of that. We'd love to pay you a referral fee. We'd love to take great care of your clients. The other thing I want to say, our affiliates page, oh man, we're rebuilding my site right now. But if you need affiliates, I mean, okay, we got everything you need up there, from a logo. You need a logo. You need some leads from Vulcan or LandVoice. You need expired FSBO leads. If you want to get some training, my good friend Jarek Robbins, he's Tony's son. He's got some amazing training. Pat Hyben, we're getting linked up with Pat. So check out davidihill.com/affiliates. davidihill.com/affiliates. If you're in health and nutrition, man, check out AdvoCare products. livelongersmarter.com is my site. We just got a lot of really great stuff going on for you guys, okay? That's what it's all about. Gonna get to Michelle. Again, this is a conversation here on the mindset, on the little voice that, that little voice in your, the little voice that just said, what little voice are you talking about? Exactly. That's the little voice. That little voice. We have an awesome conversation on mindset. This is a perfect episode to come back to where, I've taken the last 3 weeks off. I hope you guys enjoyed your summer, by the way. And can you believe it's tomorrow's September 1st? Like, where did the summer go? Anyway, I know I had a great summer. I hope you had a great summer. If you love the podcast, guys, I think we just hit 55,000 downloads. We're growing, and it's all because of you. So please share, tell some people about it. And if you would give us a review, and here's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start reading the reviews you give us. So if you go to iTunes and give us a review, and if your review is awesome, I'll read it anyway. Even if it's not awesome, you can say you stink, and I will still read your review. So, hey, give us a review on iTunes. It really helps with building our listenership and our base. So I just want to say, hey, I appreciate you guys. I'm super excited to be back, as you can probably tell. Let me get you to Michelle. And Michelle, again, awesome. Just great interview on Mindset. So enjoy. Hey Masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery, and we have a little bit of a special treat for you guys today. Somebody who's not necessarily in the real estate realm, but she understands closing, right? She's got a show she told me about coming up called Coffee is for Closers, which we love. And her name's Michelle Weintein, and she is AKA the Pitch Queen. So, hey, what's going on, Michelle?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
definitely... And by the way, I was in real estate.
Oh, you?
That was in my past life. Yes, real estate and mortgages, actually.
Okay, well, that's awesome to hear. I noticed the mortgage. But here's the thing. Regardless of what industry you're in, if you're good at sales and you know how to close, you're going to be successful, because I believe this is all transferable.
Oh, 100%. I had a conversation with a guy about a week or two ago, and he's like, so... what do you love to sell? And I said, well, things that I love. I'll sell anything. It doesn't really matter as long as I love it and I'm passionate about it. And you can use the same skill sets or techniques, tactics, things to say in all different areas. It doesn't matter what you're selling. I mean, I like to tell people I've sold everything from red chicken enchiladas to paleo turkey meatballs to pitching myself on Shark Tank to $1 million homes to $500,000 mortgages to $30,000 online programs. So
awesome. Well, you sent me this great bio, or maybe your media person sent me this awesome bio, and I'm really good at butchering bios. So what I will do is I'll just kind of go through and pick out some of the bullet points, and we'll talk about that, and we'll just bring some value to my listeners today. So, Michelle has a unique ability to help you immediately identify business strengths and create a unique plan of action. More importantly, zero in on the hidden tripwires that keep us from achieving our financial dreams, okay? That's something we need to know. Also, teach us how to open doors and meet people that we've always dreamed of meeting. And man, I'll tell you, by doing this podcast, I've really been able to connect with some really cool people. And she has also sold everything from, like you said, mortgages to wardrobes at Nordstrom's to 7-figure homes, 30K online education products. I see you were involved with Costco, the Washington Nationals, Tampa Bay Rays. Man, just so much. And then the last thing I'm going to say is you help people overcome any objection thrown at them and turn a no into it's on so they can serve more people. So, hey, again, thanks for spending some time with us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So let's go back to when we started this conversation. What does it take? I mean, what does it take for someone to be a great salesperson, to be able to go back and forth between different industries and sell and connect with people and close?
Probably the first thing in my bio, you really have to get yourself out of your own way. And I think for a lot of salespeople or, entrepreneurs, I always tell entrepreneurs and other people, you've signed up for a full-time sales job. You just didn't realize it yet. So I'm here to remind you of that. And, for all of your audience in real estate, you have to really be confident in yourself. That's the first thing. Until you've got that, you need to do everything possible to get your confidence level up. So if it's saying affirmations, if it's working out and feeling more physically comfortable with yourself, if it's how many calls are you making a day, but not only calls, how many are you connecting with? I had someone actually on my Coffee is for Closers show. He was in real estate and he actually gets 40 connections a day. And he sets these goals for himself. And a connection is actually physically talking to somebody. And it might not be someone who he's going to get a listing for. It might be for a referral, or does this person know somebody? There's no one really holding yourself accountable either. And you have to be your own boss, and you have to, what they say, own your own desk. And until you have that confidence, and remove that fear or whatever's stopping you, that's what I think is the biggest thing for you to succeed and really to get the results, what everyone's looking for. And then also being passionate about what you're selling, that's like the underlying one.
Absolutely. So let's go. I want to go back to getting out of your own way. I think that's a big one. And I don't know that actually, I'm glad you brought that up because we don't probably talk enough about that, where people hold themselves back because they're so in their head about, oh my God, I'm new. And what am I going to say? And what if they say this? Right. And what is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So how do you help people get beyond that?
Well, no, it's really interesting. And I think you have to put yourself in positions to get over that. I'll give you an example. With my last company, I had a company called Fitzy Foods, and yesterday on the show, I brought on the buyer at Vitamin Shoppe. So I got all of my meal replacement bars into the Vitamin Shoppe. I got all of our meals in there. They spent over $1 million on a project. But how I met this person is I saw him at one of the biggest food shows in the country, Expo West. And I was just roaming the halls looking for people who I already knew who I wanted to meet. And I just went up and talked to them. They make an impression on you within about the first probably 15 to 30 seconds. So just like in real estate, I mean, if you've got a new client or anything, they're going to make an impression quickly. And what I did is I put myself in that position multiple times until I got good at it. For everybody who's in your own way, you need to step aside because otherwise you're just going to keep tripping over yourself. And the way to do that is to just get practice. So maybe it's going to Starbucks and starting to just have random conversations with people instead of just being on your cell phone. Practicing with non-potential clients, but you never know. You actually might find a client in line at Starbucks, right? Like you don't know who's looking for a house or who has a referral, but it's a great place to practice, and you can practice probably with 5, 10, 15 people a day. It doesn't matter where you are. I always say car washes, Starbucks, if you're out to lunch, whoever's waiting in line at a restaurant that you're going to, anywhere. But really, to get out of your own way, you need to practice and set yourself up. It's just like working out. If you want to get stronger or you want to lose weight, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. You have to change your diet. You have to go to the gym consistent. Consistency is key. So constantly going to the gym, constantly drinking protein shakes if you're trying to gain muscle mass. Like that stuff doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Neither do these skills. These skills take practice.
Absolutely. And you mentioned confidence, and I think confidence is like the precursor to all the things that you just talked about. It's funny. I interviewed, you know who Mel Robbins is, right? She wrote the 5 Steps. Yeah, she's amazing. She was on my podcast, and it was just awesome interviewing her. And I encourage everybody to go back and listen to it. But one of the things that she really embedded in my head is her 5-second rule. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we all start to overthink things, right? And if you like what you talked about, Michelle, like if you're in line at Starbucks and you want to just start up a conversation, you never know where it can lead, right? But then in our mind, we say these little things to ourselves like, oh, well, they probably don't want to talk to me, or they're busy, or what am I going to? So as soon as you have that thought of, I want to start a conversation, you just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and say anything.
I love what Mel says.
It's amazing.
Because it changes the brain pattern. The only way to gain that confidence and to make a shift is to actually stop that little voice in your head. So you need to figure out ways to stop that chatter of everything that keeps stopping you. And that voice, it's going to take time to shift it. So her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is a fabulous way to stop that chatter in your head so you can shift into a different place and actually maybe go out of your comfort zone and ask someone that question.
Yeah, absolutely. It just gets you to, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is the greatest metaphor. When I was a kid, we used to jump off these falls. I don't know, I wouldn't tell you to go do that, but it's like a 50, 75 foot jump. And the only way to do it, you just run and jump, and once you jump, you jump. So I don't know if that's the greatest metaphor for what we're talking about, but you're taking action, right? And ultimately, you want to get confident at something. I had this conversation with somebody the other day, Michelle. We got to get on the court, right? You can only sit on the sideline so long and plan and do research and this and that. Eventually, you got to get out there and get in the court. Or if you want to learn how to swim, you can listen to Michael Phelps tell you how to swim all day. But eventually, you got to get in the pool.
Yeah, there was some really good quote. I can't remember it, but it's like, do you want to be in the stands or do you want to be on the field, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to be playing in the field, and you don't know if you're going to get that basket if it's basketball or that field goal if it's football if you don't go and try. And I think just that trying is so hard for so many people. But if you build up that muscle, just like at the gym, if you want to get stronger, you have to build these muscles too. So I talk a lot about, practicing at the car wash, at Starbucks, and just out and about, because now with our cell phones and social media, everyone's just more to themselves. And in sales, or for you guys in real estate, I mean, it's even better to practice now, because now you're actually interrupting someone from their phone. So it's a little bit more difficult, but it's really good to practice.
So when you say it's better, why is that better?
It's better because it actually makes you a stronger salesperson. Because not only is someone just standing in line twiddling their thumbs, they're now on their cell phone. So you're going to think of different interesting ways. Like, I'll give you an example. Woman was in line. She had the coolest shoes. And I'm like, wow, you have really amazing shoes. She was totally on her cell phone on Instagram or something. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. We started a conversation. So I had to interrupt her from being on her cell phone, talked about, her shoes were really cool. So you got to think, easy. Well, that was an easy one, but it is all easy if you come with authenticity.
Yes.
So if you actually think of things that are real and authentic, people will vibe with that and they'll respond to it and they'll actually remove themselves from their devices. Yeah,
absolutely. No, that's a really great point. I appreciate you sharing that. So, obviously that, the confidence is the next thing. Here's something that, I'm going to go back to this. Help us zero in on the hidden tripwires that keep us from achieving our financial dreams. What do you mean by that?
Those are the things where you're getting yourself, you're in your own way. So a lot of what we just talked about.
Same things we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, those are hidden tripwires, right? Like, what's hidden is what you can't see on the other side because you're in your own way. So I help a lot of people see these things, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And when you've been in that same brain pattern for so long, you don't understand, why am I calling 40 or 50 people a day and no one's picking up the phone? Well, if you tell yourself that every time you pick up the phone, they're not going to answer, well, guess what? They're not going to answer. But if you start telling yourself a different story and believing that things are going to shift and change, and that every single phone call you make, you're actually going to get someone on the other line, you're going to start seeing that these things actually start to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. My wife and I, we have this game where we attract front row parking spots. And I'll tell you, I tell everybody, I've shared this before 6 months ago on my podcast. It works, guys. The times it doesn't work is if we forget. Or like we're in front of a restaurant, like, oh my God, we need to find a spot. I don't know why it works or how it works. It works. Right? It's amazing. And we do it all the time. It's fun. Everybody should do that. Practice that. All right. That said,
I'm the parking fairy. I do the same thing. Every single time I'm going somewhere, I'm like, oh, look they saved me a spot. Thank you so much for saving me a spot. I'm very grateful for this spot. Every time. I always get great parking.
And hey, I believe you because I do this. But so we'll spend a minute on this. You're anticipating that. You're expecting that. It doesn't just like if you doubt that's going to happen, it's probably not going to happen. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. 1,000%. And if you believe that you're going to get 10 sales this month and get 10 new listings or 10 new whatever, like all of that will start to happen. If it doesn't, then you can look to see what you could have done better.
Absolutely. So talk to us about opening doors. Teaching us how to open doors and meet people that we've always dreamed of meeting. Through my podcast, I've just been blessed. Mel Robbins, Grant Cardone, like just amazing people that I have relationships with now, have their cell phone numbers. How do we do that, though? Not everybody's going to go out there and be able to start a podcast. So what are some of the ways you're able to help our listeners do that?
Well, and your listeners are mostly right in real estate, but I always try to start with referrals or introductions to people because they're more bound to open up that email or open up the text message. So that's the first thing that I always try to do. Now, if you're trying to meet someone completely blind, I always say that you need to do it a few different ways. Find them online, find them on their social media, you have to hit people from different angles. And I'll give you an example. I mean, it's just like I really wanted to be on Shark Tank. And it was season 3, so I started applying. Well, I found the producers on Twitter, so I started to tweet them messages. Then I found them on Instagram. I also submitted my application and video on the website. I also found an email address, a couple of them at the time, on their website and from some other people in some Facebook groups. So I reached out in, 6 different ways. I'm like, these people are going to get back to me, but I'm competing with 30,000 people at the time that were applying every year. And, I got on season 4. So I think it's not any different when you look at, in real estate or whatever your business is. If you want to get to clients or you want to meet someone influential or a high-end client in your neighborhood, there's ways to do it. You can get on LinkedIn. There's so many different ways, but I think you have to reach out from all those angles. So they're like, wow, wait, I just saw that person's name on Twitter. Oh, wait, I just got an email from that person. I think looking from all these different angles, and obviously if you can find someone that knows somebody, that would be ideal. And an example for that is a really good friend of mine. He's a pretty big podcaster, and this guy wanted him on his show, and he posted in a group, and I said, oh, I know that person. And he's like, you do? I'm like, yeah. Do you want to be, you want him as a guest on your show, right? He's like, yeah, okay, well, I'll just do an introduction and then you better do the follow-up. He's like, you'll do that? Really? I said, no problem. So when you have a personal relationship and you can actually give, the more that you give introductions to other people, they will come back to you.
Yeah.
So you can actually meet more influential people. So like for us, the people that when we're done with this, I want to see if you can help me with a few introductions because I think it's awesome, but this is how it works.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest thing too is that people don't ask. Like that one guy, he would have never asked me for an introduction. I mean, I had to ask him, who did he want to meet? Number 1. Number 2, I said, oh, do you want an introduction? I knew what he wanted, but I just wanted to be helpful.
Yeah.
And he got him on his show. And it was John Lee Dumas. So.
Oh, yeah, John Lee.
Yeah,
John Lee. John Lee was on my show as well, so it's cool. Same thing, ask. It's fun. It's funny you share these stories. Like getting Grant Cardone on my show, believe it or not, a friend of a friend of a friend told me that Grant was in Newport Beach, and he just posted on Instagram that he wants to do an interview with somebody. The guy reached out to me right away. He knew I was looking to get, and I was just, it was timing, right?
Right.
Here's the thing, though. There's 2 people that I've not been able to yet get on my show. Gary V. I mean, do you have any connections with Gary V or what? I mean, I need to get this guy on my show. So
we'll figure it out.
Here's what I'm doing. I've been Instagramming this guy every single week. Instagram, same thing you said, LinkedIn, Facebook, and I just keep doing it. And I keep sending him stuff over and over. And I listen to him. I'm a regular listener of Gary V's show. And he tells you, these are the people that are going to get through to me, the people that don't give up, right? And
it's true. And you have to be persistent. And I call it, and my friends tell me, I'm professionally annoying.
Yes.
And
explain that.
Professionally annoying? Okay, let me explain this. But you have to watch my Facebook Live show from yesterday because it was hilarious.
Absolutely.
So with my last company, I got our products in a big retailer called the Vitamin Shoppe. My company is based in San Diego. Vitamin Shoppe is based in New Jersey. We got our protein bars in. The buyer really liked them. And then about a year later, I met the senior VP of merchandising. I met the CEO at the time. I also got their cell phone numbers because like you said, I heard you say it earlier, you even have those guys' cell phone numbers. That's a very key element, everybody. I have a certain way to get it in a professional way. It's not like I'm blowing up their phones, but it's important so I don't have to deal with a gatekeeper anymore. I can go directly to the person if I have a question and, I don't abuse it by any means. And about a year later, the Vitamin Shoppe invested about $1 million in a test project where we did our fresh prepared meals in their stores. We did 5 in New Jersey and 5 in New York. So I basically lived on the East Coast for almost a year. But I was so professionally annoying that I think they thought I would do anything to make sure this project went well. And I did, because they could have easily went with like 3 of our other competitors that were really big companies. I mean, $1 billion company chose $1 million company to work with versus someone in like the mid, 10 to 20 million in revenues, not like us. So I think because of that, and even yesterday on the show, the buyer, Michael, he's so funny. He's like, Michelle, you would call me, and then you would email me, and then you would text me, and you would preface it saying, I hope I'm not being too annoying, but I really need an answer on this. So when you get a moment, let me know. Or, I would just preface it with these things because I knew exactly what he was probably thinking, but I made it funny. And then he's like, I couldn't do anything. I just had to answer your questions because it was hilarious. And so we talked a lot about being professionally annoying yesterday. Yeah, that's just a little glimpse of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's one of those I don't know if that line where you can cross. A lot of us can cross where, like Gary talks about it all the time. He appreciates people that are persistent, but not like annoying in posting or saying ridiculous things to him. Just so you got to figure out what's that balance of, okay, I'm reaching out enough, but I'm bringing value. You know what I mean? That's the difference between just kind of being there and being annoying and somebody that doesn't even want, so eventually they're going to be like, just cut you off from their list or whatever they do.
Yeah. But if they know that you have value and you do it in a professional manner, I was professionally annoying and also got on Shark Tank.
No, absolutely.
I was way too early in my business, but they only choose 140 people out of 30,000. So if you want to stand out, or if you're in your business and you want to stand out from other agents calling on different people, you've got to figure out some uniqueness to yourself and also be so persistent, especially in follow-ups. Like I've done a lot of research on the follow-ups, and I would say 80% of people actually don't do any follow-ups. So if you actually just started following up with people like once or twice, your sales will probably increase significantly because most people don't follow up. And the reason they don't follow up is because they feel like they're probably being annoying to that person. Where in reality, people are busy. That's how I think of it. Well, they're busy. They missed that message. They didn't see it. It got stuck in their feed. It was there with 8 million other messages. Like following up and staying in front of people that you want as a client or whatever it may be. I mean, that's really important. And that's what will set you apart from everybody else.
Absolutely. But it's professional follow-up as well. And it's like you said, it's bringing a value, and being, purposeful, right? So not annoying, because I think sometimes people can become annoying as well. So you got to understand that balance. I wrote a book, The Sales Playbook, and we did the research, and I love the number 80% of people don't follow up because I haven't heard that number. I knew it was high. I didn't know it was that high. But what we realized is we researched multiple industries, and we realized that about 70% of our business comes as a result of follow-up. Meaning
I believe that
7 out of 10 sales are going to come from follow-up. But yet if only 80% of people, if only 20% are following up, then there's a huge gap.
Yeah, there's a huge gap, and that means there's huge opportunity for those people that will stop the chatter in your head and you get out of your own way and you give it a try. Because when you do it in a professional manner, magic happens. And I've seen it time and time and time again. And people actually appreciate persistence. It's just that there's this it's just like the word sales. It's like a bad, the word sales, a bad 4-letter word, right?
Absolutely.
It's really bad. Well, so is follow-up, or, I don't want to annoy that person. That's why I call it professionally annoying, because that's what we think in our head. Well, I just called them yesterday, so I probably should wait another week. And now you start telling yourself all these stories that aren't even true. How do you know that they don't want to hear from you tomorrow? You just made that up. That was an assumption.
What up, masters? Don't worry, we're going to get you right back to the show. And if you're looking for more ideas, techniques, tools, and strategies, get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. Simply pause the show, go to thesalesplaybook.net, or go to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook. You rock. Enjoy the rest of the show. Talk to us about turning the no into its on. When you say that, like, we've been talking a lot about mindset. Anything else? What else is there? Like when it comes to turning that no into a yes or an it's on?
Yeah. And it's on is just no reverse, right? So if you flip the O and the N, it's on. That's how that came about.
How did I not notice that? That's funny. Okay. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I interview a lot of people on being told no and on being rejected. There's a lot of similarities. To me, a no means just not right now. A no to me means, people buy in 4 different quadrants. Like sometimes they're like ready now. Sometimes they're just in the looking mode. Sometimes they're in the fixing a major problem mode. So there's all these different stages where people are at. And if you meet someone at the stage that they're not ready to make a purchase or, become a client, and then you don't do the proper follow-up, you're going to miss them. But if you properly follow up with all the people that you talk to, eventually you're going to have a really good pipeline of leads and people that will buy in the future and that you can serve and help at a higher level. So that's what I mean by turning a no into a yes. Or, it's on. There's so many different things that you can do. And a no doesn't mean it's a hard stop. A no could mean that they didn't understand the value of what you were selling or what you were proposing. Or they didn't, in real estate, it's probably just not the right time or not the right house.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, sometimes too, people will take it personal. Somebody just saying no, like you said, it might not be the right time. You might have caught them at a bad time, and then take it personal. And then here's what I like to tell people is, we're calling these people. They have no idea who we are. How can we even take it personal? They don't know us.
Right. And until you build a relationship and have really good rapport with someone, how can you even, of course, you should probably expect to know. But if you focus mostly on that relationship building piece and the rapport piece, then the no's will become more authentic. They won't even say no anymore. They'll start to say, you know what? Now's not good, but what if we talk like October 31st? My schedule's really busy. We're going on this vacation. My husband's doing this. They'll actually start to tell you why it's not a right now. But when they don't know you, and, that's like the foundation of it, is when you talk to somebody, you have to spend some time building that relationship and rapport with them.
Well, good news is, in my prospecting days, I'd call somebody's house who came off the market. They would tell me, who's this? David, listen, take me off your list. Don't ever call my house again. Hang up on me.
Right.
3 days later, I'll call back and they'll have a conversation with me. They don't even remember me because 15 agents just called them. So of course they're going to react like that, right? If I didn't call at the right time. And that's what I mean about just taking the personalness out of it. So let me ask you this. What do you see as the biggest mistakes that we make as salespeople?
I think I would say it's jumping down their throat. I would say that's the biggest thing. If you kind of take it like lower and really focus on it's all about them too. As salespeople, you're there to serve, you're there to provide value, you're there to be of service. And I think most of the times when I'm talking or, working with salespeople, they all care about themselves. And when you can flip it and start caring more about them and serving your clients, making it about their experience and learning about them and why do they want your services and what's important to them, then you will see a huge shift. Yeah. So I would say that's the biggest problem.
So instead of making it about me, and I think this goes right back to where we started this conversation, right? About, getting out of our heads, is making it about them. As far as like you, what are some, how long have you been teaching sales now and selling?
I would say I've been selling for over 20 years, all different areas. As far as teaching, With the Vitamin Shoppe, I trained their whole staff of every store that we had our food in. I've done a few other things. I've sold for other people and their products and programs and different things. All in over 20 years.
All right. So I want to bring you back 20 years, to the salesperson you were. Here we are 20 years later. If you were able to talk to yourself 20 years ago, what would you have told them? What would you have done different?
I wasn't really that shy person, but I would say when you were a kid and you used to jump off, like you were saying earlier, jump off things and do flips off beds, keep being a kid. Don't go into this adult mode. And I feel like I did that too much, but if I was just more of a kid and more playful, that actually translate into more and more sales. And I noticed that when I was working with the Vitamin Shoppe and the buyer, and we built a really great business relationship. And, we had a lot of fun, but I opened up and he got to know me personally, which actually built more trust. And I think a lot of things in sales is built off trust. And sometimes we become quote unquote, too professional. So I would say bringing in those things that you love doing as a kid and keeping it fun and light and, being your free self, because your clients will see that and will feel that and they'll appreciate that.
Yeah. And I think that brings it right back to, again, what way we started this is getting out of our own way, right? Just being present and being authentic and being ourselves. I love that. That's awesome. All right. So, hey, how do we get in touch with you? How do our listeners get in touch with you, Michelle?
The best way is on my website, thepitchqueen.com. And that's PITCH queen.com. And then I have my Facebook live show called Coffee is for Closers. It's once a week. You can find it on my Facebook page at thepitchqueen.com or The Pitch Queen on Facebook, and like the page and, come join me every week. I love questions, so I can answer them. It is a live show and you can watch all the recordings, and they're also on my YouTube channel, but everything's on my website. All
right. Really, really cool. Anything that I didn't ask that I should have asked?
No. Anything. I mean, I think we're good. If I can be of service to you and your audience, that's what I'm here for. And it's to really, get over the fears and serve more people, because that's what selling is. Selling's not a bad word. Selling's actually just being of service. So once you can see it from that point of view, everything starts to shift.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's sales. Anybody getting into sales, or even if you've been in sales for a while and you need to get back to the basics, really needs to listen to this a couple times, because it's really all about that mindset. And like we said in the beginning, just kind of getting out of your own way and just being present and coming from service or contribution. All right. So final question, Michelle, is on my podcast is, hey, on our listeners, well, first, what would be your book recommendation for anybody thinking about getting into sales? What's the number one book recommendation?
You know what? There is the book about the quadrants. It's the book of strategic selling. And the 4 quadrants are where they talk about where someone's either in the pain, they're in the gain, they're in the overconfidence section, or they're in the status quo. So it's called strategic selling. Oh,
cool. I haven't heard of that. Strategic selling. Awesome. So, hey, listeners, hopefully you can go to davidsfreebook.com, get yourself an Audible version, download free. If for some reason that book is not on Audible, then, hey, I would get yourself a copy of Mel Robbins' The 5-Second Rule, which is definitely on Audible. All right. Thank you, Michelle, again for your time. And the final question really now is on our listeners' path to sales mastery, what is the one thing that you really want them to take from this interview today?
I'm all about action. I think that all of you guys need to go take one thing you learned today and put it into action. So maybe it's working on your pattern interrupt. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're in line somewhere, you're with human beings out in public, and you're starting to strike up more conversations, because ultimately more conversations will lead to more future sales. So take action, do one thing, pick out one thing from today, but that's the one I would do, because once you start building that muscle, everything else gets easier.
I agreed 100%. Well, hey, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey Masters, you guys know how important health and nutrition is to me. I just want to talk to you a little bit about products I use called Advocare. I've been using these products for about a year and a half now, mostly just for energy. They've got a really awesome drink. It's called Spark. If you want to check out anything, I would tell you, go check out the energy drink Spark. That's what I did for, like I said, almost a year and a half without even trying any of their other products. And then this past January, a bunch of us, January 4th, decided we were going to do the 24-day challenge, which is a 10-day cleanse and then 14 days of just really healthy eating, vitamins, meal replacement, just awesome 24 days just to kind of get yourself on track and get into some right habits. So Richie Ryan did it with us. Guys, he lost, today's February 5th. I think he's at 24 pounds lost since January 4th. Melissa at our office lost 6 pounds. Min at our office lost 5 pounds. Guys, listen, it's amazing. Regardless, if your goal is losing weight, my goal wasn't losing weight. I did the challenge just so I could experience it. And, I lost a few pounds, but now I put some weight back on because I started using some of the supplements and the protein powder and all the other stuff. So now I've gained about 3 pounds of muscle and just feel awesome. My energy's through the roof. So whether you're looking for energy or you're looking for just wellness, they've got some amazing green products that I love taking before I go to bed. Or if you're looking for performance, athletic products, we've got the athletic performance products. And then just active, if you're an active adult, maybe getting a little older in the age and you want to just keep everything working the right way and functioning. Listen, Gary Keller said it best. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? And I just love that. So, hey, I just ask you to check out Advocare's products. I'm a distributor, so I'd love to help you, talk to you about your nutrition and health goals. You go to livelongersmarter.com, livelongersmarter.com. If you love what you heard on this episode and you're looking for more techniques, tools, strategies, and ideas, simply go to thesalesplaybook.net and get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. You can also go directly to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook, and buy your copy today.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.